All right, everybody, you know what time it is. It's time for the Real Talk Sports Show coming up right now. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, here for another live broadcast from the lockdown living room. Well, pretty soon we won't be able to call it that anymore because the pandemic, it appears, well, it hasn't gone completely, but people are out and about like it's 2018. So we're going to have to leave the lockdown living room and go somewhere else. But for tonight, we are happy to be here, and we want to give great salutations and greetings to all those of you who are watching us by whatever platform, but especially we want to give a big shout out to those people on Periscope. This is our final broadcast. Periscope is going away. They're becoming something else. I think it's Twitter TV, whatever, but they be gone. So we certainly salute those of you who are watching both live and maybe the last sneaking in on the replay. Well, of course, anytime we're on this sports show, we have the most one of the most beautiful women on sports talk radio. The one and only queen herself, Miss Tree Dolman, is in the building. Good evening.
Hi. Thank you. You're so kind. How are you, Jonathan?
I'm doing great. Well, look, okay, see, this is what I like. See, the synergy. See, I already let you guys know she's one of the most beautiful women on. And look at the hair. The hair is like, whoo, like the queen. And she's got the whole Michigan shirt, everything ready. She's ready. You can see like all we need is a little sprinkly stars to come down.
Well, thank you. You know, my Michiganders go blue. They're playing tonight. I wore the maize last show, so tonight it was only right that I wear blue.
All right, so you got to be excited. Michigan holding down the fort. It kind of with the Big Ten, it reminds me of the old little song, 10 little Indians. It went down, 9 little, 6 little, 4 little, then 1 little Indian. But that's
One
okay.
little.
All you need is 1, right?
All you need is 1.
That's right. So great stuff. And it really was a great Sweet 16. Again, we want to give a big shout out to those who are listening also to WIGO 1570 Atlanta's Incredible Radio, or listening on WIGO1570.com. Their, I won't say brand new website, but certainly the website is fairly new. And we thank God for those of you who are listening to us on that platform and checking us out, even if you do on the radio on 1570 AM on your dial. So cool stuff. But Tree, yeah, I had to kind of let everybody know it's kind of a little bit of a sad day. Periscope, a platform that came out a few years back, as you know, to let people like ourselves be able to reach audiences around the world. They are owned by Twitter, and Twitter has decided Periscope is ending tomorrow. That's it. No more Periscope.
Bye-bye, Periscope.
So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye. Well, I do believe, though, that Twitter did let us all know that there will be some integration, whether they're going to call it Twitter TV or not, but we will be able to live stream on Twitter. And in actuality, a lot of people actually find us because with Periscope, it actually does broadcast on our Twitter page as well. And we want to give a big shout out here on social media. Shimon Beasley, a man from Detroit, has jumped into the fray.
Hey, go blue.
Yeah, Shimon Beasley does a great, he has his own Facebook page. Great page, and I'm drawing a blank right now. Don't get mad at me, Shimon. Just my mind is, I'm still reeling from a hectic day at work. But yeah, he's got a great Facebook page. And Shimon, if you could, why don't you type that into the comments and we'll pop it up so people can find you. He supported our broadcast for the last 3 or 4 years. We kind of discovered one another on social media. So a big shout out. And I knew the Detroit man was going to come through when it came to Michigan. I already knew. Yeah, I already knew.
Detroit represent.
No doubt. So also great stuff going on in the world of sports everywhere. Baseball season is back. So we look forward to having Brian Jones on with us. You know, he's our Braves guy. And Shimon has been kind enough to put up, there he is, Friends of Checkup Sports. So check them out. They have several hundred followers. They also allow us to share the broadcast on their Facebook page as well. So, you know, check them out and follow them there. Friends of Checkup Sports, my man from Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit.
So now we got, like I said, we got obviously Sweet 16, the last remnants of it tonight. Now, obviously, the Elite Eight has gone on. And like I said, we're going to talk a little bit about that in probably about 10 or 15 minutes. And just get your feedback on what you thought, any surprises for you as far as how it ended up this Elite Eight. We also want to talk about the women. Some controversy. Let me put my shades on right now. I will admit I am from Connecticut, and there was a little controversy at the end of that game. I want to get your feedback on that as UConn knocks off number 2 Baylor. I think it was 59-57, but a lot of people was thinking the game ended on a slim, shady note. So we're going to talk about that as well. And of course, can you believe it's baseball season?
I can't. I'm like, wow.
And the Braves are getting ready. They're playing their final spring season game, and actually their first game of the season, I think, is coming up in a couple of days.
Yes. I think the Braves are going to do good this year. I was really disappointed when they lost heading to the World Series, but let's see what they do this year.
Yeah, no doubt. I think everybody's a little bit disappointed about what they did, but I look for them to come back in a big way this year because they have an excellent team. All right, Shimon, see, this is what I like. See, people know when it's time to come out. Shimon's been real quiet, but now Michigan is in that Elite Eight, and bam, he's all over social media. He's in the house. Uh-oh, he's thinking Baylor got robbed. Oh, snap. But we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Now, listen, guys, for those of you, again, who are watching our Periscope, we just want to once again inform you that you can follow us and watch our broadcast either on YouTube or on Facebook as well. You'll be able to check us out there. So please don't just abandon ship. Remember, we're right here, and we're going to be here continuing to broadcast all across the board. We're waiting for our man, Brian Jones, to join us here and talk a little bit of Braves baseball. We're going to take a little tiny break. I have to do a little bit of housekeeping. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show on every platform we can be on. All right, so we'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our #1 priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
All right, we are back here. And again, many shout outs and kudos to all those of you who are checking us out on all the various platforms. We also want to give a big welcome and shout out to those of you watching us on the Roku channel, on the Phoenix Entertainment Network, and also on the C Room Sports and Entertainment Network. We say many thanks to you for watching us. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and shift right in and start talking a little bit of basketball here. Definitely want to get your feedback, Tree, on what you thought about the Sweet 16 as it went into the Elite Eight.
I will say that there's actually a lot of shockers going on. So when the tournament first started with my bracket, I was tied for first, tied for third. Now I'm tied for fifth, tied for seventh. So it's a lot of shockers that happened, but there's been some great basketball. And regardless of who's been winning, you can't say that the teams are not playing their hearts out. Every team that won, they deserve to win because they were the better team that day. And it's just been really some great basketball to watch. Again, some disappointments on my end just because I wanted my brackets to do well. That has not been happening. So I'm just like, whatever, go blue. But yeah, it's been some great basketball being played and a lot of people winning that a lot of people didn't expect.
Yeah, no doubt. Anytime you have teams that are in the lower seeds, I guess they were saying this is the first time the first time in a while that they had three seeds that were in double digits reach the Sweet 16. The other big thing was how dominant the Pac-12 was. Everybody kind of thought the Big Ten, and not to kind of ride that horse, but everybody thought they had 9 teams in, that they would be in the position of the Pac-10, Pac-12, who actually put in 3 teams into the Sweet 16. And now actually have USC and UCLA both in the Elite Eight. So it's definitely, I don't think anybody in their wildest dreams could have picked that at the beginning of their brackets.
No, I never would have.
Yeah, it was just incredible. All right, so Simone is saying, get ready to be shocked again. Well, yeah, I mean, so I guess the biggest thing that everybody's kind of really on, I don't say pins and needles, but everybody's kind of thinking about is Gonzaga. You know, they are still undefeated. Trying to be the first team since Indiana in 1976 to run the table, 29-0. Do you think they're going to be able to handle USC, or do you think USC has got one more upset left in them?
I think from what I was watching before we went on air that they are going to handle them. So I do think Gonzaga is going to win this game.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to click on. I know the game has started, and that's why a lot of people. I know a lot of you guys are going to be watching the replay tonight because both games are on. So we understand that. We appreciate you guys, and we're going to try to wrap it up as soon as we can, so we all can watch the second game, which starts, I believe, at 9:55.
9:57. 9:55 is close enough. I'm ready.
She got it right down to the exact. She said, let's be accurate, is 9:57. And that is correct. It is 9:57 Eastern Standard Time. So you Michiganders and all you people on the East Coast are going to have to stay up late and well into the night to watch the finale of that game. Speaking of Michigan, UCLA obviously has surprised everyone. What will Michigan, you think, have to do tonight to really make sure they kind of, lock it down?
Honestly, I just think Michigan just needs to play Michigan basketball. When we play Michigan basketball, we definitely get the job done. The Wolverines play a great team sport. They move the ball. They're able to shoot from the 3-point. They're able to drive. We have our big 7-footer in there that makes great plays. So as long as we play Michigan basketball, I think we'll be good. And then another thing that I love about Michigan is that they're able to play great defense, and they typically don't get into too much foul trouble because they do play good defense without fouling.
Yeah, no doubt. And so the one thing I looked at and got from this tournament so far, kind of my takeaways are in both. When I look at the top seeds, if I look at Michigan, for example, I look at Gonzaga, the one thing that both of those teams have in common is something you talked about, their ability to play their brand of ball, which really kind of, if you watch them, to some degree, kind of harkens back to more traditional style of basketball.
Yes.
Rebounding.
Traditional basketball, I think a lot of teams are going away from it, but if you look at it, it gets the job done. Yeah,
it's still, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still winning basketball. And Gonzaga probably does the best job of anybody in the tournament of keeping the ball moving. Really, it's almost like basketball 101, just watching them kind of zip the ball around the court. And nobody so far has seemed to have an answer because, I mean, they've been winning. None of their games have been close at all.
Yeah, that's true. Right now, when I just checked that at halftime, their score is 49-30, 30-something, I think 30. But yes, so they do, and they keep calm even when things are going. They never seem to let teams get them out of their pace of play, which I think works in their favor.
How much of that do you think is because of the fact that Gonzaga, again, is a throwback to what we used to see in college, where they have a senior-laden team?
I really think it's coaching. And of course, the senior team definitely helps because when you have that experience, we all know that does make a difference. But when you look at your coaching, it's the coaches they have their game plan and the players are all on board. And so the players are also confident, which is another thing that you hear I talk about constantly. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right. And you can tell that when they play confident ball. Even if a team gets a little bit of a run, they don't get upset or frantic, and they just play their game, which I think makes a big difference in how they play against teams, and why a big key as to why they are so successful this year.
Yeah, again, just absolutely dominant so far in the first half, run up a 19-point win against the Trojans. Now, of course, when you look at it on paper, you look at the seeding, you think, okay, this makes sense. But the way USC has played up to this point, I don't think anybody would have expected Gonzaga to just be punishing them like this because, like you mentioned, I'm looking at it here, 49-30 at the half, and it just really looks like USC has not really been in the game at all. I'm looking at the shooting here, shooting stats here. Gonzaga shooting over 50%, 54% from the floor, holding USC to 35%. Just dominant, just all across the board. And the big thing is out rebounding them 25-15 so far in the first half.
What do I always say? Typically, the team with the most rebounds is typically the team that wins.
Yeah, and that's panning itself out right now. I mean, there's no doubt that that Gonzaga, like you said, is just playing just dominant basketball, really playing well on all ends of the court. The other thing I kind of took away from the tournament is how important defense is when you get into these late quarters. Now, I know you're already smiling already because you've been talking a lot about this, but kind of just give people a recap of what you've seen defensively of some of these teams and why it's so important.
Well, the great thing that's so important about defense is that it's defense. Defense truly does win championships, regardless of how great your shooters are shooting, regardless of how great you can run and get dunks. You have to be able to make stops. And what I've been seeing from these teams who are winning is their defense. They are not giving up these plays. They are not allowing anybody to come in the paint without a body on them. They are going up. They are contesting shots. They are blocking shots. There's been some great blocks. And they are letting you know that if you shoot the ball, there will be a hand in your face. If you notice, there's been some calls where blocks are getting called and then some where the offensive foul is getting called. But it's because these guys are playing their hearts out and they are playing great defense. And they're saying, if you're going to score, you're going to have to earn it. We're not giving you anything. So defense is key, and defense is making a big difference in these teams who are winning.
They talk about that, and that's kind of the vibe we heard all across a lot of the sports shows, especially when you got some of the OGs like myself, because this really kind of harkens back to what you used to see in basketball, what you used to see even in the NBA in playoff time. Teams just clamp down. You're forced to run your half-court sets. You can't just run up and down the floor because teams won't let you do it. The good teams, I should say. And the other thing, too, is you have to make adjustments. And that's the thing I think that was interesting to me when I was watching these games is that the teams that were able to make adjustments, especially if you look at Arkansas, how they were able to, come back after being down, late in that game against the quote-unquote Cinderella Loyola of Chicago. I mean, it's just you have to be able to defend, and you also have to be able to almost to some degree impose your will on the other team.
Definitely. And you also have to be able to make free throws. That is such a big part of the game. I know when I was playing in high school, our coach would not let anybody on the court at the end of the game if you could not make free throws. And it wasn't even because our games were close. We typically would blow everybody out. But he still wanted you to make those free throws just because it's a momentum changer. And he always said, if you can't shoot free throws, you're not going to be on the court at the end of the game. So it's a big part of the game. And if you notice, you'll see where, who knows, with some of these teams who lost, had they made their free throws, would they have won the game?
Yeah, that's a good question. You talk about how important free throws are. Oftentimes, coaches have to make decisions, however, of putting players on the court who are their best players who don't necessarily shoot foul shots very well. And a couple of things that I've seen in this tournament is people stepping up. Because another thing I've taken away from this, man, there's nothing that substitute being clutch.
That is true.
I watched some of these guys that were, especially guys that played your position down that low post, either the 4 or the 5, that I can't remember the team, but they had a couple of guys that were shooting less than 60% from the foul line, and they calmly, with less than 2 minutes to go, stepped up after being fouled and just put in 2 or 3 foul shots. Guys were hitting 3 or 4, 2 of 3, 2 of 2, who up the whole season had barely shot 50%. So again, we got the big keys. You got to play defense, got to play team ball, and then most of all in the big tournament, you got to be clutch.
You do have to be clutch, and you have to rebound the ball.
No doubt. The other thing is from Michigan, their guard play and their ability to control the game from the guard position. How important has that been to making sure, especially when teams press them, that they're able to kind of, hold their ground?
That has been big for them because if you notice, they get through the presses pretty easily. You don't really see too many turnovers from the press. As a matter of fact, you'll see where they actually score a lot. Some of the turnovers that I've seen is just because they were lobbing it up for a dunk, and then defense saw it, so they got the ball. But they're really doing a great job with the pressing, and they're doing a great job with running the ball and getting it up to their point guard who's running the plays and spreading out the offense and able to make things happen.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I said again, guard play is important, and the ability to play under control, under pressure, because that's what teams try to do, especially if you're a good team like Gonzaga or Michigan that they're able to run again those half-court sets, able to move the ball around. What they try to do is speed you up. And it's funny because that's what I thought that Florida State was going to do when they played together. I thought they were trying to speed the game up and go into a lot of pressure. But even when they tried, kudos to the Maize and Blue for being able to respond and keep them at bay.
They did. They did a great job with that.
Yep, no doubt. So, yeah, good stuff. Again, Final Four should be must-see TV again this year. We just got, we got a couple of ones. We got potentially 3 1s and a 2 that might end up in this tournament. And at the end of the day, as much of the upsets that we had, as much of the seeding where people scratch their head, if you get 3 1s and a 2, I guess the guy sitting back that picked out the seeding said we did our job.
Well, ultimately, it doesn't matter who wins up to one point. What do we remember whenever it comes time to tournament? Yeah, you remember the Final Four, but ultimately you remember the champion, right? So that's the team that everybody's going to think about is the team that wins. And history and statistics will tell us that majority of the teams who win the big dance is a number 1 seed. So they definitely did their job. So we'll see who wins. We still don't know. I'm hoping that it's Michigan, but we don't know. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I know you. That's your main thing, the Michigan. And listen, I gotta show you some love and support for that because you've held your ground the whole time. You didn't care. Even as the Big Ten started getting bumped off, you're like, I don't care about that. The Big Ten, that's my home ground. So I'm showing them support. And at the end of the day, if Michigan wins, what does the rest of it matter?
Exactly. It's all about who wins the ship, as I like to call it.
Right, because you're right. Nobody really remembers, except in a rare case. And I'm really hoping and praying that regardless of how far Houston goes, whether they win or not, my hope and prayer is I'm able to get in a gentleman that actually a lot of people that know about Houston basketball know they were a storied program. And I can't believe how time has flown, 35 plus years ago, they went to 3 consecutive Final Fours. Didn't win any, but they went 3 consecutive times under 5 Slammer Jam. And I actually had a chance to interview one of the players from that team about 4 years ago when I was covering the Super Bowl in Houston. He's now an attorney, Lyndon Rose. So I hope to have him on the show next week to kind of get his comments on what it feels like to kind of watch the Cougars back in national prominence.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Yep. So again, great stuff. It's just been, like I said, a great weekend of sports. We're also going to talk in the second half, we always do, talking football. We're going to do a little spotlight on Clark Atlanta University because, as you guys know, one of the big guys that come on our show, Tyrone Poole, the defensive back coach there, so we'll talk about that. We're also going to be talking about the NFL draft. Tree, can you believe all the crazy stuff in terms of the trades that went on with the drafts? We're going to talk about that. And, of course, we're going to talk about our Atlanta Falcons, and hopefully later on the broadcast also get our man Brian Jones on to join us. All right. I also want to do this really quickly, guys. So for those of you who normally follow us on Periscope and kind of wondering, hey, how you can be a part of the show, here's what I'm going to let you do. I know it's hard for you guys maybe to comment. So I'm going to do what I did last week. I'm actually going to put the link for you to be able to actually join us tonight on the show. Now, I'm going to put it up here. So it's going to put up on social media so you guys can see it. And drum roll, please.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
And there it is. There's the link right there, guys. You can see it. We have it posted up there on Periscope. We also have it on Facebook as well. If you guys want to copy and paste the link into your cell phone or onto your laptop computer, you can go ahead and join us there on the broadcast, and we'll bring you on again. If you want to just do like several people do this, just do like kind of their put their avatar up only because you don't want us to see you. That's fine. If you think you the glamorous or most handsome person around, you want to be on screen, we'll put you on. I will tell you this though, we remember now we're under FCC rules, so we can't have any bad language. And if you do come on the video, don't wear anything too provocative. I'm just saying. Okay, so those are the house cleaning rules for being on the Real Talk Sports Show, just in case you guys don't know. All right, we're going to take another quick little break here for the people that are listening on the radio station on WIGO 1570, and we'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show in just a moment. Don't go nowhere, please. Thank you. Did you know that Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, Georgia also has Lincoln? Over 35 years of using the Vigil Touch to provide excellent customer service, works hand in hand with the Lincoln Motor Company to provide a luxurious and seamless way to acquire your next luxury vehicle. Lincoln has an array of full-service complimentary owner benefits. These benefits include hospitality partnerships, service pickup and delivery, all which can be accessed through the Lincoln Way app. You can even contact the 24/7 concierge to have someone assist you. Come and see our great inventory of new and pre-owned Lincolns today. Call 678-364-7345 to make an appointment with one of our brand champions or shop 24/7 online at allenvigillincoln.net. The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice. That's right, guys. Let us know how we can help you. If you, again, have an advertisement, you need some voiceover work, or if you just have some cold messages you need, let us know. Give us a call, 678-304-8121, and we would love to assist you whatever we can in making that happen. So, again, that's it, 678-304-8121, and we would love to have you be a part, actually help you guys out to do your thing so that people might find out more about you and your business. All right. Well, yeah. So now we're going to shift to the controversy of the weekend. I don't know if you saw Tree at the end, but it did appear that my Lady Huskies from UConn won a game against Baylor that was a little controversial, with what many people, including LeBron James, saying there was a foul on the play. Did you see the play? And if so, what did you think?
I did see the play, and there was definitely a foul on the play. Definitely.
All right. So what you're thinking is what we should have had at the very least is an overtime game, basically.
Well, I think, yeah, they definitely should have called the foul. It's a foul. Call the foul. It's you want the teams to play aggressive, right? So you want to let the teams play, but you also want to call the calls. You shouldn't just let people get away with fouls just because it's the end of the tournament or whatever. If it's a foul like that, you need to call it.
Yeah, you hate to see that. Two of the better, two of the best programs out there in women's basketball. Baylor, over the last decade, has been an outstanding team. Obviously, UConn, 13 consecutive Final Four appearances now after this win over Baylor. And, of course, I think it was they ripped off, I think maybe 6 or 7 straight championships. And they had a span of about 10 in like 14 years. So, yeah, you hate to see a game that was so hotly contested, so close for so long to go down in that manner. So, again, we want to give a shout out to UConn. I'm originally from Connecticut, but to the referees.
Call the fouls, ref.
Yeah, you just can't. You can't have a situation where, especially a championship situation where a team is basically deprived of their ability to at least. Okay, so now Baylor goes up and clunks 2 foul shots, no problem. But at the end of the day, if they hit them, you basically have kept them away from their opportunity to be where UConn is right now. So I don't like it.
Yeah.
Not good. Let's go back to social media here. Big shout out to our friend James West. And I believe that's the same James West who is one of the great Canadian Football League players. If I'm not mistaken, James was inducted to the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. Had a great career there, legendary career, great man of God. So, James, peace out, bro. Appreciate you for jumping into the broadcast. Well, we have to shift gears here for just a second because we see someone in the studio. This young man covers sports. He covers pop culture, and he definitely covers our Atlanta Braves. We want to get some talk about Braves and what's happening at the start of the baseball season. Brian Jones is back. Brian Jones, what's up, buddy?
Not too much. How you guys doing?
Look at those pearly whites. I'd pay money to have my teeth shining like that. It lights up the whole screen. Like I got where's my shade? Doggone, I gotta get my other shades for this. My nighttime driving shades. Hold on. For Brian Jones. I got the
There we go.
Wait. What's up? Mr. Jones, how you been, sir?
Been good. Can't complain. Just staying busy.
So I know for you, this is kind of a great time of the year. You got everything going on. I know Tree's got some questions for you. I got some questions for you. So first of all, what's been your take on the Final Four before we talk about Braves baseball?
It's interesting because if Gonzaga and Michigan win, the Final Four will be in a very unique position in the sense that there'll just be one team that has a national championship, and that's Michigan. And I think they won that back in 1989. So I think it's good for the sport in the sense that there's a little bit more parity in this year's NCAA tournament compared to the previous years. I picked Gonzaga to win, and they still have a chance to do it, but at the same time, you just never know because with this tournament, anything is possible. Because I thought Illinois would go on a run, and they got ousted early. I thought a team like Ohio State would make a run also. You didn't think that UCLA would make the run that they have, and I was able to watch them play against Alabama. A very compelling game. So this has just been really good to see. It's just good to have the NCAA tournament back. And even though it's a little bit different because you don't have Duke, you don't have those powerhouse teams that you normally see, it's still good to see the NCAA tournament back after being away last year. And it's been a compelling tournament. I wish I had the opportunity to watch more games, but the games I have watched, it's been really fun and entertaining. So I think the Final Four and these games going on tonight will be just as compelling and will draw a huge viewership.
All right, Tree, I know you want pepper Brian about the Braves, but before we do that, once again, social media has stirred up. You know who Mr. Football, Vincent Turner, has got to get his opinion in. So let's see. Mr. Turner is saying right here, he said Michigan oh, man, he's throwing shots. He said Michigan's going down tonight. Oh, what?
Oh, that's
He's talking
funny.
about Bill Walton.
That's all right, Vincent. I'm not mad at you. You support your team. I support mine. Go Blue.
Wow. All right, well, we're going to go to Periscope. Like I said, again, big shout out to those of you watching on Periscope. These are the final days. Tomorrow it cuts off. I'm not sure what time, whether it's midnight, tomorrow night, or during the day. But our main man, affiliate man on Periscope, he says he's going to miss us.
Are you not going to continue to join us, affiliate man? And ladies.
Now, look, guys. Okay, now I'm going to put this out here again. Please don't just abandon ship now. I mean, we're going to be available on other platforms. You don't have to sign in. Like I said, watch us on YouTube. I mean, that's the biggest thing right there. Just watch us on YouTube or follow us on social media so you can find out kind of what's going on with our broadcast. We're eventually going to get back out in the public. I mean, Tree is like, the only way I'm going out with you anywhere right now to cover anything is you drag me, and then I'll probably hit you with a stick. So she's
I'm about to say, I won't even be dragged. I'm not going out.
There it is. Affiliate man, he says he will find us.
Yay!
All right, so let me help you guys find us before we get and talk a little Braves here. Let me get this up here on the screen. Remember, you can follow us anywhere on social media at Real Talk Sports, the number 7. Okay, so that's how you can follow us there. Let's pop that up there. There it is. Boom. Anywhere on social media. Now, if you want to watch the program on YouTube, let me get you the YouTube link so you can do that. We don't want you guys to disappear. Here we are on YouTube. Okay, there it is. YouTube.com/Real Talk Sports TV. Okay, but here's the good news. If you just put in the search engine Real Talk Sports, you're still going to find us. Okay, because there's only, I think, one other person that has Real Talk Sports, and they don't have as many followers as us. Ha! So, okay, go into just Real Talk Sports, and you can find us right there. And we'd love to have you guys continue to watch us here. Like, I make a little adjustment here so I can copy and paste this here so you guys can see us here. Here we go. So that's it. Please do. All right, Tree, Pepper Bryant about the Braves. I know you got some questions about the Bravos, how they're going to go about their business this year.
Yeah, so Brian, I just want to know, what do you think the Braves are going to do this year? We know how close they came last year. So heartbreaking and disappointing. So what do you think they're going to do this year from what they have on their roster?
I think based on what their roster has, I think they're one of the 5 best teams in all Major League Baseball. This spring, it was just all about them getting healthy, just getting in shape. It's basically the same team from what it was last year. And last year you mentioned it was they were just really a run away or a game away from reaching the World Series. And last year they were a team that not only was working with one legitimate starting pitcher, Max Fried, and they had their share of injuries. Freddie Freeman, who won the MVP last year, was diagnosed with COVID before the season. So the Braves had to battle quite a bit. And the amazing thing about it is, despite everything they went through, they were able to dominate the NL East. So I think this year it was good for them to bring back Marcell Ozuna. I think that's going to be huge for them, especially on offense. Going to be, that cleanup hitter, middle of the lineup guy who's probably not going to have as productive a year as he did in 2020, but he's going to be a guy to protect Freddie Freeman, who is going to have another MVP type season. So the biggest thing for the Braves when they start out the beginning of the year is they have their first 13 games. They're going to be playing against NL East opponents. If they're able to get off to an 8-5 start, then they should have a really good chance of winning the division for the 4th consecutive year. And this team has grown from what it was when they first entered Truist Park from 2017 to what they are now. I think the only way that they miss out on the playoffs or miss out on winning the NL East is they have their share of injuries. And with the starting pitching, there's some question marks there. But if they get Mike Soroka back and then Max Fried, Charlie Morton, they're able to pitch at a high level, then the Braves should be in contention for the World Series. Now, the Los Angeles Dodgers are back. They basically have the same team from last year. The San Diego Padres are a team that can definitely make some noise. And then you have, of course, the New York Yankees in the American League. But the Braves are one of the best teams in all of baseball, and they should be well in contention when it comes to October.
Yeah, so now you said something about Ozuna not having as good a year. What kind of is the thought behind that?
Well, if you look at his overall career numbers, the back of the baseball card is basically he's a guy that's going to hit about 25 home runs and maybe 85 to 90 RBIs. And if the Braves were to play a full season, a full 162 game season in 2020, his numbers would have skyrocketed. It'd have been like maybe 45 to 50 home runs and 140 RBIs. But still, and even if he doesn't have that type of season, he should be able to help this offense. He should be able to have a really productive type of year. I think the biggest question with him is how well can he do in left field, because there's been a lot of question marks about him in the outfield position being a liability. The thought was they would have the designated hitter in the National League. It doesn't look like that will happen this year. But I think Marcell Ozuna will be fine in left field. And as I mentioned, he's going to be a really good bat in the middle of that lineup. And again, it's just all about protecting Freddie Freeman. And even if he's not that productive, you still have a Ronald Acuna who could have a really big year. Ozzie Albies, I think, who's underrated. Travis d'Arnaud, who's one of the best offensive catchers in the game. So you definitely have some depth in that lineup. But Marcell Ozuna is a guy that if he gets going, then this Braves offense is going to be hard to stop. So it may not be like a huge year for Marcell Ozuna, but it will still be a productive year.
Well, all I know is that the Braves need to close the deal. This has been since '95, the band of their existence. They get to the first round, maybe get to the second round, they're out. And certainly you can't blow a 3-1 lead. I mean, you just can't. And I don't care. I'm happy for the Dodgers. They've had their own drama and not doing what they should do under pressure. But this Braves team, like I'm just listening you tick off all these guys, boom, boom, boom. You look at that 1 through 5 in that lineup, and it's one of the best in the league, bar none. Dodgers, Yankees, whoever you throw out there. So they're gonna have to step up, man, and make some big plays when it counts.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. And you mentioned last year, they had every opportunity to take down the Dodgers and go to the World Series. And again, the Dodgers are a better team, and most experts will say that. But at the same time, if you're up 3-1, you got to find a way to close the deal. And granted, it was a good year for the Braves. They were able to win 2 playoff series, something they haven't done in 15 years or so. But now it's time to take that next step. It is World Series or bust for this team. And I know that the Dodgers, they're basically have the same team coming back from last year. But again, you're a team that can play with the Dodgers. You're a team that can beat anyone in all of Major League Baseball based on what you have offensively, starting pitching, and in the bullpen. So it's time to take that next step. The Braves have done a good job of improving each and every year, as I mentioned, from 2017 when they first started playing at now what is called Truist Park. But now it's time to take that next step. So if they don't make the World Series, if they don't win the World Series, it's going to be a big disappointment.
Yeah. Yep. I think that sums it up quite nicely. We just need them, like you said, to close the deal. You're up 3-1 against the Cardinals. I think it was 3-1 against them. You lose in your park. You let a team score 11 runs in the first inning, an all-time record. Then you turn around, you come back the next year, to their credit, play extremely well, get to the NLCS, and then once again, you get up, you have the series in your hand. And so, to me, all I got to say is they have everything they need. I hear guys on 680 and other stations talking about their pitching and they need more depth. Forget all that, man. That lineup is stacked. Okay, so I'm not giving them no slack. They need to step up to the plate. Speaking of stepping up to the plate, we have to take a little early break here for WIGO 1570. We'll be back with more in just a moment, and we're going to pretty soon be talking some football because it's football time. You know how we do it. All right, we'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show. Don't go anywhere. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our #1 priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. Nothing better than the sound of diesel in the morning. And what better place to get high horsepower diesel than the all-new 2020 Ford F-250, now with 475 horsepower and over 1,000 foot-pound of torque. You know where to get it? For me, the minister, Jonathan Simmons at Allen Vigil Ford Commercial Sales. Because you know why? I'm the commercial truck guy in the shirt and tie. All right, we're back here. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show, broadcasting to you on multiple platforms, including Facebook Live, YouTube Live, the end of Periscope, unfortunately, and also on 2 Roku channels on the Phoenix Entertainment Network and on the She Room Sports and Entertainment Network. All right, Brian, before we wrap up here and shift into football, give us a prediction for the Braves one more time. You think this is a World Series team or no?
Yeah, I think so. I think when it comes down to it, they'll win 95 games and represent the National League in the World Series. As for who they'll play, it looks like it will be the Yankees. If not, I could see the Toronto Blue Jays being that team representing the American League. So it's either going to be Braves or Yankees, or Braves versus Blue Jays.
Well, there it is. I'm gonna make sure to keep a hold of this show so we don't have you backpedaling later and say, "Oh man, but I said." So we'll keep a nice little record here of this. We're gonna shift now, talk a little football. Obviously, a lot of things going on in the world of football, especially the NFL draft. I mean, could you believe the trades that were made? Crazy stuff, crazy. So we're gonna bring in a football expert. This gentleman has won not one but 2 Super Bowl championships. He also is a young man that proudly graduated from HBCU school. And before we talk NFL, he's going to tell us a little bit about the school he's at now. Defensive back coach for Atlanta University. The one and only Tyrone Poole is back in the building. Good evening, sir.
How you doing, Minister Simmons, Tree? How you doing, Brian? Hello to everybody out there who's watching and listening. Thank you, Minister Simmons, for giving me an opportunity to talk a little bit about CAU, Clark Atlanta. Well, we're doing great things at Clark Atlanta. Clark Atlanta, we're trying to correct the mentality, which I'm going to dive into that a little bit more. Even professional athletes, mentality wins championships. TV, radio is a mentality, but at Clark Atlanta, we're trying to change that trajectory of the mindset. Last year, they were 0-10. Well, 2019, didn't play last year. 2019, They were 0-10. So you got to change that mentality. And if you change the mentality, then you take the ability, and then that's when you create a winning culture. So the guys are buying in, and I'm happy to be there. So I promise you this, we will not be 0-10 in 2021.
But Tree, what do you think how important it is for someone like Tyrone had NFL experience, Super Bowl winning experience, to come to an HBCU, Clark Atlanta, right in the middle of the AUC Plaza?
I think it's very important because everyone knows that Tyrone has the history. He has the rings to prove it. He has the trophies that you see in his background to prove his greatness. And so the guys already will just look up to him. And so I'm pretty sure they're all honored to have him as part of their coaching staff and someone that they know, hey, he knows what he's talking about because I'm trying to get to where he has been. And so for Tyrone to come back and help out the HBCUs, I think is tremendous. It is a huge blessing to the schools. It is a huge blessing to all of the players that he interacts with because he's a huge role model that makes a big difference. So just like he said, it's the mentality. And mentality is everything. So like he said, they're buying in. I definitely know you guys will not be 0-10.
Tyrone, what are some of the building blocks that you feel, and I'm sure the head coach likewise, and even the AD, that you guys are looking to try to put in place to make these changes?
Well, first building blocks again. It starts with everybody buying in, just like Tree said. She's been around athletics. She's done it at a high level herself individually. But I use the acronym SOOT, the same acronym that I was introduced to with the New England Patriots. But actually, this is a principle that I've been a part of with all winning teams, organizations, corporate America. SOOT, S-U-T. We all got to speak the same language. We all got to understand the same way, and we all got to think the same way, no matter what we do. And when we hit that field, SOOT has to be the foundation. Speak, understand, and think. If it's in corporate America, when we come in and punch that clock, we answer that first phone call, is speak, understand the same way, think. So, I've heard someone say they went to Nike, the organization Nike, and everybody who they interviewed or talked to, they all said the same thing, from the person down in the mail room to Phil Knight himself. Is speak the same thing, understand the same way, think the same way. So that is the building block, my friend, to success.
Well, it sounds like you got that game plan laid out really pretty succinctly, man, because that's really what it's all about. Tree talks about it almost on a weekly basis, especially when we have some of the high school kids in. It's about, kind of your mentality and, the discipline that it takes to, create a winning program. Brian, you've seen it up close with Kennesaw State. What do you think about this program they're trying to roll out here at CAU?
Yeah, Clark Atlanta has always been a proud football program, and I think with Tyrone in the coaching staff and the fact that he has that championship experience, it's really going to help them in the fall of 2021. And you mentioned Kennesaw State when they started in 2015. They hired Brian Bohannon as the head coach, and Brian is a guy who worked with Paul Johnson, a former Georgia Tech guy. They were a part of the coaching staff with Georgia Southern, who won those national championships in the late 90s going into the 2000s. So Bohannon is a guy who has that championship experience, and they bought into what the players have bought into what they're selling them, and it's led to them having to win 2 Big South Conference championships, one in 2017, one in 2018, and because they're playing in the spring. They have the spring 2021 season. They're ranked number seven in all of FCS. So having that leadership, having that championship experience is very beneficial for any college football program. So I expect big things like Clark Atlanta in the fall.
No doubt. Well, I go to social media for a second because I don't get too many shout outs on the program, but I got to put my shades on for a second because my cousin, Mr. Mike Ashley, has given his cousin a shout out on the show. Appreciate you, Mike. Mike is a guy that played basketball for our alma mater, our high school, Brian McMahon High School. Matter of fact, big shout out to those of you. Let me share this on the Brian McMahon alumni page. Thank you so much. Yeah, so Mike was a guard. He started off as a sophomore as a 6th man and was part of our only state winning championship basketball team. So, cuz, appreciate you. Yeah, so it looks like, good stuff is going on at Clark Atlanta. And how much is with yourself and, of course, Deion Sanders, do you think that's going to create more activity where athletes, or maybe even go to a HBCU, will start to get involved to try to help these universities build their programs?
Me personally,
Yes, sir.
You go where you go. Don't go just because somebody goes there. You wouldn't jump off a building just because everybody's jumping off a building. Go where you can plant your feet and be the most productive, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's about taking what's inside of you, the inner you, and exposing it so that it manifests on the outside. So if you got to go to California and you live in Georgia, you got to go to California to get that done, go to California. If you're in New York and you got to go to Texas to get that done, go to Texas. Don't stay around just because your mother, your dad, or your brother went to a local school or went to a HBCU or a PWI. Go where you can expose and plant your seed in the ground and be productive. Because at the end of the day, you can't be productive and help others if your water bucket ain't full in itself. So that's what I'll say about that.
And just for those of you who are not familiar, PWI means predominantly white institutions, just so you know. You guys know. So, yeah, man. So definitely, I agree with you with what's going on. Like I said, just everything you talked about so far on the broadcast has been spot on. Let's do this. We're going to do a quick take a peek here. Let's get a score update. Let me see if I can do this properly here because we have a score update. It does appear that the beatdown continues with Gonzaga. It does appear that they are up by a substantial margin. Let's see if we can get it here.
69-47.
There you go, right there. 60. Actually, they're up 63. I don't know if you guys can see it. They're up 64. Yeah, 69-47. They're up by 22 points right now. So it does appear that Gonzaga will reach the Final Four, no problem. So looks like we now have contestant number 3 that's heading to the Final Four. And we're only waiting for one more. I wonder who that team might be. I wonder who that might be. Well, yeah, so that's it, guys. Like I said, great stuff going on here. So let's go ahead and take a shift here to the NFL. We saw.
Can I say one thing before you take a shift?
Come on.
Since we're talking about the HBCUs, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew, which I think is wonderful, but Spelman was saying how their the applications that they received has been record breaking by a lot. And so a lot of people have been bringing notice to the HBCUs HBCUs, the NBA All-Star, just everything that they've done. And so now you see where the enrollment is really, really starting to shoot up. So shout out to the HBCUs.
Yeah, great stuff. We've had several corporations step up as part of the social unrest that we had during our nation throughout the year and some of the tragic deaths that we saw. And really just, the need for social justice, and many corporations, I'm not too long of a list to name right here, stepped up and made some huge donations to HBCUs, which from an educational point of view is phenomenal, because some of these schools, because of COVID, really were impacted with their ability to, get their income in there. Let's go back to social media here for just a second here. And of course, you know who, Mr. Football Vincent Turner had to throw his 2 cents in. He pointed out, he's a historian, the 1966 Tennessee State team was one of the greatest college football teams ever. 27 players off of that team were drafted and played in the NFL. So big shout out to that team. And I think the 72 Tennessee State team wasn't that bad as well. And of course, it would have been phenomenal had these teams been able to do what they do now, which is play some of the other D1 colleges. But there might come a day where those games once again are competitive, and we have seen a couple of victories and narrow, close to victories by HBCU teams over top D1 programs. So hopefully as time goes on, we'll see a shift in that as well. So we shout out to you, Mr. Football. I'm not going to put up your next comment because you've been railing the blue all night long. If you got something to say to Miss Dolman or any Michigan fan out there,
put up the comment. If it's don't be a hater.
There he goes once again talking about the Big Blue is overrated, and I'm gonna post it up here again. So if you guys want to be a part of the broadcast, you can. I'm gonna put the link up right now, so you can come on.
I'm just going to say that the Big Ten definitely was not overrated. We all know that the Big Ten was not overrated. We all go off of who's ranked, and we know how the Big Ten was ranked. That's all I'm going to say on that. Drop the mic.
Whoa. There you go right there. All right, there it is, guys. If you want to join the broadcast, you can paste the link. Come on in. We'll bring you in the show. If you ain't scared, we ain't scared. So come on in and join us. All right. First, we're going to go around the horn here. I want each of you guys' opinion about the blockbuster moves that went on in the NFL draft, where we have San Francisco shifting up, the Eagles shifting down. Brian, first, your thoughts on the NFL draft and what's been cooking.
Yeah, when it comes to that trade to where the San Francisco 49ers move up to the number 3 spot and take to where the Miami Dolphins were, I think the Dolphins won this trade because you think about what they've acquired, and they did this just based on trading Laremy Tunsil. So they have a lot of draft capital. They have a lot of work with on draft day. And I think based on what they were able to do last year, they have a chance to really do some special things in 2021 and 2022. As for the 49ers, I think Jimmy Garoppolo might be in trouble. I think when it comes down to it, I think with him, he just needs to stay healthy. I think health has been a big issue for him the last couple of years. When he's on the field, he's been very productive for the 49ers, but you just don't know if he's going to remain healthy. So it looks like the 49ers have an idea who they're going to draft at number 3 overall. And I think this is going to be really interesting because, number one's obviously going to be Trevor Lawrence, but after that, it could be Zach Wilson. It could be Mac Jones. It could be Trey Lance. So the 49ers are definitely going to have their options if assuming that they take a quarterback. And then the Eagles, I think I'm not sure what they're doing. They just had so many issues, but it's going to be interesting to see how their whole draft class pans out. But I think the Dolphins won that trade when it's all said and done.
Well, I think we scared off Mr. Football once again because he came into the studio. I saw him in the green room, but I didn't realize he was there. I went to click on. He jumped out of the building. So we're going to do this. We do have someone else there in the building. Now, anytime we talk about the NFL and especially your Falcons, we bring in the guy that knows more about them than anybody else. He's the embedded beat writer for the AJC Sports. He is a award-winning sports writer and Esquire par excellence. The one and only D. Orlando Ledbetter is in the building. D. Led, what's up? I think I see him.
You're muted.
I think he's on. Yeah, he's on mute.
All right, he's on mute for a second. Okay, just waving hello. All right, wait a minute.
There we
There you go.
All right.
Now, hang on. You guys heard about the Magnificent Seven? Well, we're about to get the Sensational Six. This guy here is the one that got me started here in this whole sports football talk business. He has his own program with over 20,000 followers on Facebook called 100 Yards of Sports Talk Radio. 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. The one and only Mr. Vincent W. Turner is in the building. Mr. Turner, what's up, sir? This guy here is the one that got me started here in this whole sports football talk business. He has his own program with over 20,000 followers on Facebook called 100 Yards of Sports Talk Radio. 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. The one and only Mr. Vincent W. Turner is in the building. Mr. Turner, what's up, sir?
How you doing, sir?
Now, Mr. Turner, hold on 1 second. I'm gonna have to have you turn that off because it's getting an echo and a time delay. So you have to, if you got a headset on, please use that because you got a wicked echo going on right now. All right. Well, I guess she's gonna come back once she gets that fixed up. All right. Let's go around the horn and keep it moving here. Let's go here to Miss Tree Dolman. What are your thoughts about the NFL draft and kind of those explosive moves by the Dolphins and the 49ers?
Like you said, there's been some explosive moves going on. I'm really curious to see what teams are going to do. They're starting to make projections of who teams are going to pick. I really don't know if those are actual projections or if they may change their mind. I'm just waiting to see what everyone does. And I think it's definitely some big moves being made. Looking forward to it. And I think that these changes are really going to make a big impact on a lot of the teams.
All right, Mr. Tyrone Poole, your thoughts on how all these explosive moves are going to be made. Who do you think might be the winner of these big moves by Miami and the Eagles and by the 49ers?
Well, I say this about the Eagles and the 49ers. I start with the 49ers and the Dolphins. The Dolphins, just because you got a big kitchen don't mean that you can cook. All right. Just because you got all them draft picks don't mean if you don't mean nothing if you don't know how to use them correctly. All right. I always go back to Jimmy Johnson. People call him a fool for getting rid of Herschel Walker, but he utilized them draft picks very well. So again, if you got a good kitchen, that don't mean that you can cook. Now, as far as the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, I think even when he was here in Atlanta, I still think Kyle Shanahan was a doggone good offensive coordinator. Of course, those who don't know football, they're going to think differently. But those who know football understand that players go out there and make things happen. Coaches just call the plays. But I will say this. He comes from a football factory, so to speak. His dad, Mike Shanahan, John Elway, mobile quarterback. They got that stretch, so to speak, that zone running. And you see what he's done when he has the ability to get the runners. So if they are going to use that pick to get a quarterback, then I would say watch out for them San Francisco 49ers because they were injured a lot last year. So, I think that could be a team that could really upstart and probably upseed those Tampa Bay Buccaneers if Tampa Bay, continues to not do too much on their end. So that's what I'll say about that.
All right, Mr. D. Orlando Ledbetter, your thoughts about these blockbuster trades?
Yes, Reverend. I just want to thank everybody because my mock 3.0 right after those trades got like 71,000 page views on Facebook. So, that's just on Facebook. So folks are reading that. They like the mock draft. And, my information in the mock draft at that time, the trades on Thursday had the 49ers taking Trey Lance. But after I talked to some people in the league, they were saying, hey, D-Led, nobody trades up from 12 to draft a developmental quarterback, which is what he would be. They didn't trade up to 3 to draft Mac Jones. They didn't trade up to 3 to draft Trey Lance. They traded up to 3 to get Justin Fields because the Jets are going to take Zach Wilson. Trevor Lawrence is going number 1. The Dolphins can sit at 6 and take the tight end from Florida. And then, back at 12, we got the Eagles going with Caleb Farley, arguably the top corner in the draft. Him, Surtain, or J.C. Horn. So, I mean, it's a month out. Information's starting to come in. I'm not going to be arguing with people about the draft. I'm going to make my calls, and I'm going to put my mock draft up every 2 weeks. So the next one will be next Wednesday. Then it'll go the Wednesday after that, 2 Wednesdays from that. And then, the week of the draft, the final mock draft will go up on that Wednesday before the draft starting on Thursday. So, I'm making my calls. I know we're starting to figure this thing out. He didn't trade up for 3 to get some cat to sit on the bench and just, go ahead and get the headline ready for the Jimmy Garoppolo New England trade. So, stuff is starting to come into focus here. We've been doing this for a while. So, you gotta know when the smoke screens are out there. So the Trey Lance and Mac Jones, that's a smoke screen. He saw that boy throw that ball down the field against Clemson in the playoff game. And did he lose his Super Bowl? He lost the Super Bowl because Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't hit it wide open to Emmanuel Sanders. So boom, Brother Poole is correct. That's a Super Bowl championship team. If the quarterback hits the bomb. And what did Justin Fields just do? He just bombed out Clemson in front of the whole nation. So, it's been fun. It's been cool. And that's kind of where we got the top of the draft handicapped at right now.
Yeah, no doubt. There's no doubt that that's what Shanahan was looking for. Shanahan, when he looks at Fields, he sees the quarterback that fits exactly into his system. He can run that stretch run. He's mobile. He's got a big cannon of an arm. He can make every single throw. So, and he's shown that he can do well against the best competition. So there's no doubt that that's it. And of course, he gets one extra benefit. He gets to poke the Falcons in the eye one more time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I was like, when I started talking to some of my folks after the trade, I was like, oh, he's messing up the Falcons again.
Again.
Because the Falcons are going to sit there and be like, okay, we'll take the best player. It's going to be Fields. Now they can't take Trey Lance and say that's the best player at 4. No. They got to take the tackle from Oregon, which ain't real sexy. But hey, if Matt Ryan's not on his butt next year and you got a running game, hey, you back in the mix.
And no doubt. Let's go to social media here. Philip Man says, he said, but D-Led, he says, what about Kyle?
Not at Fields Pro Day.
Right.
Smoke screen.
Right.
Yeah, that's why.
And I'll say this about Kyle not being at his pro day. You know what? The Carolina Panthers were not at my pro day either. They ended up jumping up 10 spots and drafted me at 22. So that don't mean nothing. Great coaches have already done their homework. Those who show up late are the ones who still trying to struggle to turn their homework in.
You know what it reminds me of? You should have the police officer when they come out with a big crowd. Nothing to see here. Move on. Nothing to see. We're all done. Yeah. So I guess now the next question is, I know, Tree, you've been adamant about the Falcons stand right there at number 4. Don't go nowhere. I know you lean towards defense, but there's been some rumblings around the idea of them potentially picking up a tight end and going with Kyle Pitts. Do you think they should go with an offensive player, especially a tight end? And I'm going to ask all you guys that. Do you think Kyle Pitts could be the answer for the Falcons at number 4? First, Ms. Dolman.
Well, I'm going to say I support whatever decision they make because I would like to think that they know what they need more than I do. Of course, I think that a defensive player will make a huge impact on the team, but having a big-time tight end will make a big impact as well, as long as he's catching balls and he can make great game plays. Just like you noticed with the 2 teams that went to Super Bowl, they had great tight ends that made important key plays when it was needed. And so if we can get a great tight end that can do that, then I'm all for it.
All right. So let's go around the horn. Brian, what do you think? Tight end at that spot?
If it is a tight end, then it'll have to be Kyle Pitts. He's just a different breed of a player. I think when you're drafting at number 4, you want to take the best player available is still there. And even though, as D'Lo mentioned, it's not as sexy, but I think a player like him can really bolster the offensive line. But Kyle Pitts, again, he's a guy that's a freakish athlete. He can just make all the plays. He's just a bigger wide receiver. And I think even though the Falcons need more help, I believe, on defense, building that offense, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So it's just really going to depend on how the draft goes. And it looks like, based on the trades that happened this past week, you pretty much know how the top three is going to go. So the Falcons are going to have their options. I would go Penei Sewell, but if they believe that Kyle Pitts is the best player available at number 4, I don't have a problem with that either.
Well, we're going to see. It's a tough call. I mean, a lot of people, D-Letter, talking about the idea that they should trade back and go from there. So a lot of people say, hey, man, you guys should just trade back and try to get a bunch of picks as well. We got a shout out here. Someone just simply saying, God bless and God loves you. So we appreciate that as well. So at the end of the day, I don't know. I mean, it's a tough call because the Falcons need a lot of different players. I mean, they got several spots they need to fix. Penei Sewell, I mean, obviously this guy, if he's a generational offensive tackle, then it would be great to plug and play a guy in 10 years, maybe get 3-4 Pro Bowls out of him. D-Led, I'll go back to you for a second. Anthony Munoz was that and more from Cincinnati. Have you heard anything from him or any other guy like some of the old Falcons that played at that position about Penei Sewell?
Yeah, I heard from one team executive, and he said he's legit. He could start at all 4 positions. He'd make the line better. He'd fix all the problems. They need a left guard. You could start him out there, move him to tackle, maybe slide Jake inside. And but when I said, well, hey, if Fields is gone, he said, well, what about the quarterback? So, they're definitely, everybody around the league think they're taking quarterback, even if it's Lance. But Penei Sewell is legit. They have a chance to take the best position player in this draft. So, if there's 3 quarterbacks and the best position player is this kid, he's 20 and he's going to play for 15 years and solve your problems, that'd be a good pick. Yeah, they got holes, but if you're trading back to just draft quantity over quality, then you're going to be back up here in the top of the draft pretty soon. So if this kid can go at it, and, you can't draft a tight end at 4, even if he is Kellen Winslow, the dad, because you can't block. You can't block. The quarterback's been getting killed. I mean, it's been 40-plus sacks, 52 one year, 42, then I think 44. So, I mean, who can operate like that? So I'm fine with fixing the line. If they decide to fix the line, not going to sell any tickets. But, hey, I like Matt Ryan. I like my chances with Matt Ryan protected to go to the playoffs. He's done it a lot of times.
Well, no question that if you look at what they've done, and Tyrone, you've seen this with the Patriots. He's having a little technical problems there, but we've seen this with the Patriots. They built a team. That's something these guys have done for years. There's no question if the Falcons could find a way to put Penei Sewell there, you see all the moves that they're making. They brought in a back that, he's no Michael Turner, but certainly probably is a guy that would be more reliable in picking up tough yards maybe than anybody they has here. I'd love to see what they could do with the young man out of Pittsburgh to see how he would fare in this offense, Allison. And then we also see some of the other moves, like bringing in a blocking tight end. Even though this guy's ended their career, the fact they brought in a tight end that actually can block, it's kind of telling you where the Falcons are looking to go in 2021. They're looking to keep Matt upright. They're looking to go back to kind of what the Falcons did very well in that span from 2008 to 2012, which basically is to have a good running attack and Matt Ryan to be able to throw the ball off the play action fake, and from time to time, when they needed a change of pace with an up-tempo offense. So that's what I'm looking for there. Mr. Poole, you're back here, sir. We lost you momentarily. We were asking the question about the idea of you seeing how the Patriots operated by building the team. And obviously you had some stars with Brady and several other guys there. But you think the Falcons, if they draft the Penei Sewell and maybe kind of build around, is that maybe a better aspect if, in fact, Justin Fields is no longer on deck?
Well, I'm gonna say this. I've had opportunity to see one organization built from the ground up, and we were one game away from the Super Bowl just in 2 years. That's the Carolina Panthers. I've seen that same formula go to Indianapolis, where a team was 3-13, and we turn around 13-3. And then I've been a part of organizations where they had winning history, and I've seen an organization win back-to-back Super Bowls, and the most Super Bowls probably over the last 10 years or so. But the one thing I would say that the Falcons need to draft, if they could draft it at number 4, is a mentality. That's why I said in the beginning of the show, I'm going to come back to that. You can draft whoever you want to, whatever. Everybody great about going off of numbers. Oh, this person is this fast, and this person could jump that high. All that stuff is good, man. It's good for the papers. It's good for people to write about. But at the end of the day, can he play football? Does he have the mentality to play the football? Because I do believe this. You guys hear me now? Everybody who listening, watching. A group of sheep, a herd of sheep led by a lion will defeat a herd of lions led by a sheep. It's all about the mentality, guys. You can go out and get the best athlete, whatever. But if you don't have the mentality to be a winner, you're still going to lose. And fans be talking about why we draft that guy. So at the end of the day, I'm like, the Falcons need to draft football players. Okay, they need to draft football players. All teams draft players that are football players. And this Kyle Pitts, he's good. He's athletic. But you know what? He is a guy that, as Brian alluded to, he's a big wide receiver. Now, if you go back and read his draft card, he has struggle when you go to block. When he goes to block or stronger guys. So what are the Falcons going to do? Are they going to have a 2 tight end set where they got the tight end, they got Pitts as a tight end? He's not fast, so he's not going to stretch that middle of the field if teams choose to play cover 2. So now you got Julio and you got Ridley on the outside, where most teams are playing 3 wide receivers. So my thing is, no, I don't think you go with that tight end. I think you find somebody else. This guy, just me personally, I just don't think he would be a great fit. I think Matt Ryan is best when he has that undercover, that person he could throw to. You look at Tony Gonzalez. When Tony Gonzalez was there, I'm like, Matt Ryan had one of his great seasons. And then you look at the fact that they got Mike Davis. Mike Davis, I had an opportunity to really cover this guy because I did a little bit of football analyst Sundays, basically not analyzing the game, but as they play, but coming back on Monday, Thursday, talking about what the Panthers did. And Mike Davis is a real good running back. And I think he's going to do some great things here in Atlanta. So you get a running game and you get Matt Ryan, that blanket, and then you keep the 3 wide receivers set. Then I think the Falcons offense could be very good, and I think they could actually try to beef up that defense, which this year people are still saying that they need an edge rusher. They still need some help in the secondary. So if you get somebody on that front line defensively, then I think you balance up your opportunity to upseed either the Saints or the Bucs in the NFC South. But would I go tight end at number 4? No. Would I go Pitts? No. I think he is athletic. They probably going to compare him to Darren Waller from the Oakland Raiders, but Darren Waller is a little bit heavier, and Darren Waller was targeted, a lot. And he caught a lot of passes. I think he caught like 107 passes last year. So can Pitts be that type of guy that's going to catch all them balls? I don't know. It's just me.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I look at this team and I just think that, as crazy as it seems, some of the things that you talked about seem to make a lot of sense. I'll flip to D-Led just a second here to kind of get his feel, because, again, the Falcons have done a lot of things that we were told originally they couldn't do. We were led to believe they couldn't restructure Matt's contract. Somehow they found a way to get that done. We thought that they couldn't do anything with Deion Jones because they just had signed him to big money. They somehow were able to do some stuff with him. They even got Jake Matthews to agree. So the Falcons have done some things, it seems like, D-Led, to try to get them as much cap space as possible. Do you see, or have you heard them maybe targeting another free agent that maybe is off the radar, or making some other moves to bring in some veteran players that can impact the team?
No, Reverend. Actually, I wrote about with Joel Curry. He broke down all those things. He said he didn't want to do Matt Ryan's contract because that you can get rid of him in a year. He told us that Jake Matthews was getting done. He told us the 4 players that were getting cut. Ricardo Allen, James Carpenter, Allen Bailey, Tyler Davidson. The only one he missed on was Tyler Davidson. And he said he didn't want to touch Ryan or Julio's contracts. But all the other ones were going to be. The one that hasn't been touched is Grady Jarrett. So, and right now they only have, according to NFLPA documents, they only have $7.7 million under the cap. And so they're still upside down because their rookie class is going to be $12.9 million. So they got to do Grady's. They got to come up with another $6 million just to, be under the cap. And the guys they are signing, they signed 6 guys now, but I have the contract numbers on 5 of them for $10.4 million. You got 5 players, those rare, very low contracts. Mike Davis had the 2-year, 5.5, $3 million guaranteed. But most of these guys, Barkevius Mingo, Moreau, Brandon Copeland, they got very, very low contracts. So the last one, Josh Andrews, he's been in the league for 5 years. He didn't start playing till last year at age 29. He's done practice squads all over the league. So those are the type of guys they're going to bring in and try to fill the team with while they get younger. But yeah, as far as them signing anybody like Kareem Jackson went back to Denver today, the cornerback from Alabama, from Macon. So, anybody like that, we're not expecting them to sign them. We're looking at a lot of 1-year contract guys, $1.1 million, right up against the top 51s. And then, you got 9 draft picks coming in. Then you're going to have about 4 or 5 undrafted guys make the team this year. So they won't call it rebuilding, but in a sense, it is rebuilding the back of the roster.
That seems like a lot of turnover of personnel. I want to ask you guys what you think about. There's been some rumblings that if he's available in maybe those mid to lower rounds, we talk about a potential quarterback. There is some possibility the Falcons might try to draft a young man who opted out from Georgia, who played at Wake Forest, Jamie Newman. What do you guys think about that as a potential down the road quarterback replacement? A guy you can bring in here and maybe sit behind Matt for a year or two. Big guy, big arm, mobile quarterback.
Yeah, Reverend. Jamie, somebody to keep an eye on. The Mills kid out of Stanford. He's somebody to keep an eye on. There's only one quarterback on the roster, so they got 2 of them are coming. Maybe one's coming high and one's coming low, or maybe one's coming in the middle. But maybe they're gonna sign the other one off the street. So all quarterbacks are in play at this point.
I like how D-Les said, sign one off the street. Speaking of that, Tyrone, what do you like the idea? Like D-Les just mentioned, you got to have a backup and a third-string quarterback. Like the idea of them going into the draft, maybe lower end. There's a whole list of guys you could put in, as D-Les mentioned, or trying to pick up a veteran quarterback to get in there and back up Matt Ryan.
You know what? I still think it's an opportunity that, there's so many teams that are really wanting to trade up. And you see the 49ers trade up. If I'm the Falcons, I would roll the dice with Matt Ryan and whoever's backing him up. For the longest, Peyton Manning went with, didn't nobody know who his backup was. What was the name of the backup? So I think what I'm saying is, if I'm the Falcons, man, I'll see who's interested in that 4th pick. And just like the Dolphins did, we talked about the Dolphins, stack up, rack up on those draft picks, because quarterbacks are still going to be coming out next year. So Matt Ryan still could be utilized to take somebody up under his wings next year. So again, it's all about, this is where leadership of the organization comes into play. You got to be a 360 thinker. You can't be a 90-degree thinker. And most people are 90-degree thinkers. And what I mean by that is they're looking at what their needs are right now. But a 360-degree thinker, a real leader, looks at the future, not only right now. So if I'm the Falcons, I'm like, there are a lot of teams who want to move up and grab these guys. You know what? Here's our price. And then they probably get a first rounder next year, a second, however they structure it. and then you try to find a quarterback, let him be nurtured up under Matt Ryan, and then you move on to the future.
Well, Michael Bing off of Facebook, he says we should have gotten rid of Matt. And we got, it's funny because you got about 40% of the fan base that feel that way. It's like, hey, man, Matt Ryan should be gone. I don't know about all that. But, D-Led, you see where he went with that? He said the guy needed to be a 360 thinker. Now, weren't we told by the other author that that's why he picked this author? He could see around corners, and that we were told?
Corners, yeah, that was it. See around corners. And see those people that say I should have got rid of Matt Ryan. Hey, if you're the coach of this football team and you go to sleep at night, you're not worried about Matt Ryan's not what's keeping you up. Matt been doing his job. I'm worried about the blocking and the rush and the coverage. So I mean, if I'm coaching this team and I gotta go to sleep at night, I'm not worried about Matt Ryan. He ain't been to the Super Bowl. He done took the worst defense ever to the Super Bowl. Almost won the thing. Been to the playoffs. Went to the playoffs as a rookie. Won the MVP. The Falcons got a lot of problems, and Matt Ryan's not one of them. So I don't know where these people coming from with all this Matt Ryan hate. It don't have anything to do with what's been happening on the football field. So let's just go on and check that. I even stopped paying attention to these people. Because if you go to any Falcons game and you see them play, and I ain't missed but 2 games in his career, he's not even close to proud.
All right, Ms. Dolman, all I've been seeing is them pearly whites, like what D-Led was talking about. So I assume you agree with the fact that Ryan's not the problem?
I agree 100%. I can't tell you how many conversations I have with people where they're always talking about, they need to get rid of Matt Ryan, Matt Ryan, Matt Ryan. Like D-Led said, Matt Ryan is not the problem. It's kind of like what I said a few weeks ago. Typically when a team is winning, the quarterback gets praised. If a team is losing, they blame the quarterback, even though the quarterback is doing his job, as D-Led said. So I agree completely with what D-Led said. And I just laugh when I hear people saying how Matt Ryan should be gone or he's overpaid or all this. I disagree. I think he's a really good quarterback.
And Michael Bing, I mean, I know he's watching one of our Falcons pages, but he just threw. I mean, he just feels, hey, Matt's a carryover from the losing, and he wants to see him gone. I mean,
and the winning. He won 113 victories in his career. So don't give me that.
Yeah, the only thing I can say is that it's if you look at the numbers and you look at what the guy has done, you look at what when he came here, what he found here, empty shelf, chaotic, a lot of people in just mourning for the previous quarterback. So he came into a lot of stuff. Now they helped build a team around him, but the bottom line is he took care of business. I mean, that's it. Okay, and Michael Bing is just like, what? Yeah, so I mean, look, I'm going to say it again. I've been saying this. As much as I hated, it drove me bananas that the Falcons gave up a 28-3 lead and lost the Super Bowl. The realities are this whole conversation about Matt Ryan changes if the Falcons make one play in that game, either defensively or offensively. Yeah. All of a sudden, Matt Ryan goes from being a bum to being a guy that at the very worst would have been co-MVP of the Super Bowl. He'd have been MVP of the league, and he would have been a multi-year All-Star. So now he's on the fringe of actually being a Hall of Famer. So where are we going with this? I mean, I understand he does some stuff that's made me go like this, but at the end of the day, again, if in 2008, when D-Led, you remember this, a lot of people did not want the Falcons to draft him at number 3. They wanted the lineman, I think, was that University of Mississippi, I think, the big lineman.
Dorsey. Dorsey from LSU.
Remember that? Everybody wanted Dorsey.
Yeah.
Get Matt Ryan in here. If you told people then that this quarterback that you're drafting over the first 13 years of their career would give you 2 NFC championship game appearances, 1 Super Bowl appearances, 4 or 5 times be elected to the Pro Bowl, and once be the MVP, everybody, I'm using my Southern, everybody would have signed up for that. Mm-hmm. Right or wrong?
Correct. And, now, really the problem is that the failure has been to build a defense to match the offense. I mean, they up 17-0 against Kaepernick and them and blow that lead. Your number one seed against Green Bay, but your nickelback got hurt. You had to run Christopher Owens out there. It's just a matter of time before Aaron Rodgers found him. Then the 1 year Abraham's got no business playing. But you don't have a pass rush. You got the division clinched. You already number one seed. You're not gonna play that week. There's no reason for Abraham to be on the field. He gets hurt and you don't have a pass rush. You can't chase Kaepernick around. So the failures have been, and I hate to be making excuses for Matt Ryan, but the failure has been in the administration's inability to put a quality defense, not even a lockdown defense. We're talking just give me a top 16 defense. I'm not asking for the steel curtain here. I just want a defense that can give me a couple stops and let you win the game. But, they haven't been able to do it. Now, some new people are going to get a shot at fixing this.
Well, speaking of make some stops, I know you guys can't believe it, but we're at the end of the show. So we got to stop right here. And we have to go around. You know how we do it. Anytime you're on our show, we want people to know how they can find out more about you and follow you. So, first of all,
Can we ask Tyrone to break down the three cornerbacks for us real quick? Surtain, J.C. Horn, and Caleb Farley, if he's seen the cornerbacks in the draft.
Right. So what I want to do is that each week, if you guys will allow me to do this and come back, each week I want to target on a different skill set position that the Falcons technically could do. So next week we're going to do defensive backs. And Tyrone, I want you to break down kind of the guys that are the top three. So D-Led, thank you for, setting me up, bro. I appreciate you. All right, so you guys stay tuned next week. Tyrone Poole, obviously, if he's available, will be on next week to break down the defensive backs, the top three on the show. So, without further ado, Mr. Brian Jones, the floor is yours.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. You can find me. I'm the trending sports writer and entertainment writer for popculture.com. You can find my work at popculture.com or popculture.com/sports. I had the opportunity last week to talk to WWE Hall of Famer Stone Cold Steve Austin. Those stories are up on the website. You can just, again, go to popculture.com/sports. You can also follow me on Twitter. That's at Brian Jones _PC. And I also have a podcast called Always Football Season. You can find that wherever you get your podcast. I'm going to have a new episode up probably sometime next week after taking a few weeks off. But again, that's Always Football Season. You can find that wherever you get your podcast. I also have a Facebook for that podcast, which is facebook.com/Always Football Season.
Remember, you can follow my Instagram at Brian_L_Jones. Just saying. All right, Brian, until next week, we appreciate you, man, and we want to see you again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys.
As Brian Jones in the building. Well, we're going to go around to our Super Bowl champion, Tyrone Poole. The floor is yours.
I'll be very quick, 2-minute offense here. You can find me on all social media platforms at Tyrone Poole 38, Tyrone Poole 38. And also check out my foundation, Tyrone Poole 38 foundation.org. So you can go there. You can learn all about what the foundation has done in the past, present, and the future. So you can have an opportunity to give us your time, your talent, your treasure, and help us change communities by building champions. So that's where you can find me. Look forward to the partnership and look forward to the next opportunity. Thank you.
There you go, guys. Unless you're blind, it's right there at Tyrone Poole 38. Just check them out. Tyrone, until next week, man. God bless you. All right. We know we have to do it. Let's get that screen right. There we go. All right. The one and only D-Led. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Reverend. You can find my AJC articles on AJC.com, on Twitter at DOrlandoAJC. We got the Bowtie Chronicles podcast coming out this morning, Wednesday morning at 8, and then the Cover 9 at 9 blog. We're talking to Alabama cornerback Patrick Surtain. Thank you,
guys. You see it right there. That's the website there, AJC.com/sports/Atlanta. That's Falcons blog, Cover 9 at 9. Of course, you can follow D-Led anywhere. You see right there. Twitter is DOrlandoAJC. Instagram, DOrlandoLed. And D-Led, listen, now I'm going to let you know, sir, I don't have much money to pay you to be our executive producer yet. So I appreciate you have to be pro bono for a little bit.
All right, no problem.
The Orlando Ledbetter in the building. Well, of course, the queen, we got to let her have her say. Now, Tree Dolman, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. You can find me on Instagram at It's Latresa, and that's ITSLATRESA. And then from there, you can find all my other things.
There you go, guys. Right down there at the bottom of the screen. You see it. There she is. You can follow her right there. Unless you're a blind bat, there it is. It's at Latresa. That's it. You should be able to find it. I don't get it. All right, guys. You can follow me on social media at Minister J Sim. That's it. You check me out there. You can do that. You also can follow the show itself. We're at Real Talk Sports 7 on all social media platforms. That's who you find us. That's how you follow us. We appreciate you guys doing so. Listen, like I said again, I'm going to put on my ministerial hat one more time before I go. Look, crazy times we're living in right now. All kind of stuff going on in our society. But I got the answer for you. His name is Jesus Christ. He is our Savior and Lord. Please, man, please, sir, get to know him today. Why? Because nobody loves you like Jesus. Not nobody, not your auntie, not your mom, grandmama. Nobody loves you like him. Why? Because he made you. He died for you. And if you believe in him, you can have a life well lived here on the earth and get an entry into heaven, the greatest place ever made. And you avoid the worst place ever made. That's called hell. I don't know about you. I like option number 1 instead of option number 2. All right. Tree, I think we, once again, the time, I don't know where it goes, but it gone. So,
it flies by.
That's right. All right, guys, until next time, please join us again. God bless you, and good night.
Go Blue.
She had to do it, didn't she, boys?